Hi, good afternoon, everyone. What a wonderful show from Clive. I'm not even going to try and follow up on that. My purpose this afternoon is to give you 5 minutes on where we go from here. We talked a lot about what our priorities are and what we'll be doing over the last year, and clearly there's most of that actually is work in progress. So it won't surprise you to know that we're out to consultation on the second solicitors qualifying examination consultation, as Julie said this morning. That will finish in about 2 months' time. We need to think about where we go from here, decide whether or not we're pushing forward with that, and think about the practical implications of that. They're looking to the future. Consultation finished about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago after a 4-month consultation. Clearly, there's some contentious stuff in there. There's lots of people had lots of things to state about it. As I said earlier this morning, we will basically be taking it to our board probably in February, March time, and deciding where to go from here. Those were only high-level principles. We would need to go out again for consultation on detailed rules as to how we would introduce those issues if we decided to do that. So you will hear much, much more about that next year. In terms of IT, I've already mentioned this morning, it will be a big deal for us, and we will be starting to put out lots of communication about what we're doing, what it might mean, and when you'll see some changes. The information session we had at the end of the morning, perhaps one of the most contentious issues that we're dealing with, is in the foothills of its gestation, if that's not a mixture of metaphors. The reality is that if we decide to do something about that, we will need to come back with very specific proposals for consultation, and that's likely to be sometime in the middle of next year. 2 new things, and I'll finish on this. One is we have to think very carefully about the fee structure in the organisation, about essentially how we collect fees, how much of it attaches to the actual practicing certificate, and how much of it relates to turnover of your business. And the reason why we need to do that is because of all the changes that we'll be making in the regulatory model over the past couple of years. And I suspect, I was just speaking to Crispin Passmore that you hear from in a few minutes, I suspect that somewhere towards the end of next year you will see a consultation on changing the way in which we charge fees for the privilege of registration with the organisation. And then lastly, and I'll only say a minute on this, professional indemnity insurance. This is the primary subject of the next hour's debate. It is, I think, a watershed moment for us in terms of how we take it forward. We've got access to a lot more information than hitherto we have ever had. And really what Crispin is about to take us through is what we think, or our early thoughts on what we think that might mean in terms of policy development in relation to regulation and in relation to the minimum terms and conditions in the handbook, and in relation to what it means as part of the regulatory model moving forward. So in a way, I'm sorry to say, I said this morning, there's lots of change. There's change everywhere you look on a constitutional basis, and certainly in terms of legal regulation. And certainly next year will be no slouch in terms of pushing that forward. So watch that space. Please do look out for those types of issues as they pop up in our general communications. As I said earlier, and I know that Enid said at the beginning, we do want to hear your views on any of that. So if at any time you feel you have something to say, you know where we are, please pick up the phone, please ping us an email, and we'll be happy to try and engage. So without more ado, I think, Clive, you're just going to say a few words and then we'll move on to Crispin.